Hey, what's going on, friends and fans? It's your boy Migs here with my channel Consciously Metal, and we're here in my kitchen with another little DIY. This one was a special request by a friend of mine who's also a subscriber. She wanted to know how I make my homemade raspberry iced tea. I just started doing this recently myself because I was going through kind of a little self-guilt trip at work. I was buying a lot of Snapple raspberry teas, and I just couldn't guarantee to myself that every time I threw that bottle out into that recycling bin that those bottles were actually being properly recycled. So that kind of motivated me to kind of look at the label, see what the ingredients were, and they're just your basic black tea, white tea, and raspberry flavoring. So I had bought this raspberry tea from Celeste Seasonings. You might be able to find this in your local co-op or in a Whole Foods or something like that. I haven't checked to see if I've seen this in Whole Foods, but I wouldn't be surprised if they have it. And then I got this black tea and this white tea. They're from the brand Prince of Peace. Really big boxes because I plan to be making this very frequently. It's one of my favorite drinks. And at first I was only using black tea because I wasn't able to find white tea. So the proportions of tea bags that I used for this, I was using 8 bags of black tea and 4 bags of the Celeste Seasonings. You're also gonna need some fresh raspberries. I like to crush these up, chop them up very finely, and then well, chop them very finely first and then crush them up. And then I put them in the tea. You're also gonna need some sugar. So since I'm vegan, I got me some vegan sugar. And I bet you're saying, oh my god, these goddamn vegans, everything has to be freaking vegan in the label. But for those of you who don't know, a lot of sugars, when they're processed, they're filtered through a substrate I should say, to take out any impurities. It just so happens to be that one of the goddamn things that they happen to use is bone char, which is derived from animals. It seems ridiculous to try to avoid it for that reason, but if you're a ethical vegan, and it's the only reason to be vegan is for the animals, you do your darndest to avoid any products, no matter how little and minuscule and annoying it is to try to avoid that animal product being used in your stuff. You go that extra mile. So you're also going to need a nice gallon to keep your tea in while it cools and all of that. I'm using a pestle, a knife, a fork, and a bowl to crush my berries in. So pretty much, you make sure your water is nice and heated. While that's getting up there in temp, I preheated this water. I'm gonna crush my berries. I think I'm gonna use the whole pack because sometimes I try to save a little bit to munch on, but I want to try to reinforce that raspberry flavor in there as much as possible. So yeah, just give them a run through with your knife. Chop them up, get them open. It's unfortunate, raspberries taste so delicious, but when you're chopping them and crushing them, I have no idea why. It just smells like farts. It's pretty nasty. For something that tastes so good, but yeah, you're gonna smell some odd smells coming from the raspberries, like fart-like and stuff. I don't care, I still love it. Chopper, chopper, chopper. I honestly might not even use that pestle. I like to just crush it with the fork. Alrighty. Let me just run it through with the fork. Mix everything around, make sure everything is... Oh yeah, that fart smell is strong. I don't know why. Something so delicious smells like farts when you crush your foot. So yeah, you just want to get it to a nice little pulp like that. That way when you throw it up in the water, all those berry flavorings release up in there. Oh, I also recommend having a strainer and a funnel so that you don't make a mess when you are pouring your tea into your gallon. Alright, we have that one to a nice boil. Let's get our tea bags ready. So since I'm using white tea this time around, I'm not going to do 8. I'm going to do 4. 4 black teas, 4 white teas, and 4 raspberries, or raspberry teas I should say. Total of, you know what, if you want to reinforce, I will not give you throw in a 5th raspberry bag of tea in there. It smells so good too. Oh man. Some legit raspberry tea. Again, it's Celestial Seasonings raspberry iced tea. I mean, iced tea. It will be iced tea once I chill it. And put the sugar to the side. Alright. Once the water is to a boil, you can pretty much just shut it off. Throw tea bags in there. I wish they didn't come with all these extra packaging. The Celeste Seasonings just has the tea bag string with no string and not in a wrapper, but these are Prince of Peace tea bags come with a little envelope to protect the tea bag, and you have a string attached to it also, so it's kind of like extra waste. But at least it's on paper and decomposes fast. Just swirl your tea bags around there, dunk them so that they release all the goodness. You want to be careful you don't start sloshing tea all over the top of your stove. Oh yeah, that's looking good already. Might as well just throw in your raspberries in there, crushed raspberries. It's really going to bring the water level up, so you want to be careful you don't put too much water inside your pot. Gotta leave some room for the raspberries. I'm gonna get a spoon real quick because I don't want to waste any bit of raspberry juice, so I'm gonna pick up some of the tea, put it in here, and try to clean the bowl of whatever raspberry residues stuck to the sides. All that raspberry goodness in here. Alright, so now it's pretty much, that was it. Crushed raspberries, 4 black teas, 4 white teas, 4 raspberries, but I threw in an extra one, so it's technically 5. For a grand total of 13. And then you throw your fresh crushed raspberries up in here too. And just let it all sit there for a while. Want to let it cool down as much as possible, because if not, it's going to make the bottling process very annoying and possibly painful if you burn yourself. The longer it gets to sit here, the more it'll release its flavors into the tea. Then all you have to do is pretty much strain all the raspberry flesh out of here. And then sweeten it to your liking. You can use things like agave too and stuff, but I try to avoid as much highly processed sugars as possible, even though I know that vegan sugar is kind of up there with this process. I tried using this sugar I found called xylitol, I believe, but it's supposedly one of the healthiest sugars because it's the most minimally processed, and it also has 0 calories. But I was pretty sure I felt I had to use a lot of that sugar because it was not sweetening up as much as your normal sugar and stuff. And I wouldn't recommend honey because honey is not vegan. For those of you who don't know, honey comes from bees. Bees are conscious beings, and on top of that, if you don't know, bees the queens have their wings clipped, and then they artificially inseminate those queens by crushing the stingers of males to collect their semen. So that's why we vegans don't use honey. On top of that, if you really think about it, honey is bee vomit. I don't care how sweet somebody's vomit tastes, I'm not gonna eat that shit. You couldn't pay me enough. So remove the tea bags, make sure you use a spoon and a strainer, and use the spoon to press out as much of the liquid from the tea bags you can, so you get all that goodness. And then if you have too much water in your pot, you want to carefully remove as much as you can, so that when you tilt the pot it doesn't overspill. Then you're going to strain your strawberry flesh out of the water, and you should have your finished tea. Then you got to put it to cool, of course. Then you have some nice good iced tea. Alright, make sure there's no more tea bags hiding in here. Oh, there we go, we got 1. And we got 2. Any more, any more. Alright, I believe those were the last 2. Now you want to set up your funnel with your strainer. Get a nice big spoon so that you can ladle out as much of the liquid as you can. Where's your boy? Alright, that should be enough so that it doesn't overspill. Try to be very careful when you do this. There you go. You're gonna do the same process with the raspberry flesh as you did with the tea bags. Just press it until it releases all the liquid that it's soaked up. That should release some more raspberry goodness into your tea. And then you're gonna put this to chill. Once it's chilled, I'll meet you with a nice ice cold cup and I'll let you know what I think of the final product. Alright fam, here we are with the final product of our raspberry iced tea after it's nice and chilled. Look at that nice coloring. You get that color from the crushed raspberries you put in there. Now let's see how good it is. That's some good tea right there. Oh yeah, not too sweet. You taste that raspberry tea up in there. You also taste the fresh raspberries that you crushed in there. You don't want to put too much sugar because then it overpowers all those flavors. So that's why you add a little bit of sugar at a time. You know, you stir it. You want to make sure you do it while the tea is hot, because that's the best time. You know, while tea is cold, it's the sugar dissolves slowly. So there you have it, people. Homemade raspberry iced tea. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe and hit that notification bell. You know, let me know what you think of it once you've tried to make this yourself in the comment section below. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.